All Nations Sunday is what I'm going to be speaking about here today. Why did I choose this topic today? Well, it is something that I am very passionate about, something I'm very excited about, and something that I've been a part of for about 7 to 8 years now. And because it's something I'm so excited to be a part of every year, I wanted to share an opportunity to share it with all of you this morning as to why I'm so excited about it, what it means to me, and why I am a part of it every single year. So I'm going to be talking about who, what, when, where, and why. Pretty simple and straightforward. Try to be a little bit informational, and at the same time, hopefully provide some information that if you have any questions that I'd be able to answer after my speech here today. So I'm going to start with what and why. Well, All Nations Sunday, what is it? It is an opportunity to embrace diversity in our churches and our community. And that's really what it is. We've been celebrating All Nations Sunday at the Rochester Pentecostal Church for about 8 years now. And when we first heard about it, we got really excited because we knew that we had, for a small congregation, we had a lot of nations represented. And so we wanted to figure out, how can we embrace an opportunity to celebrate every Sunday, but also just to have a specific day set aside where we can talk about these nations, celebrate their diversity, and bring them together all in one opportunity. And why do we do this? Well, we see that we live in a time where oftentimes our differences pull us apart. And we wanted to take a chance once a year to celebrate an opportunity to bring our differences together and to celebrate those differences. So instead of finding an opportunity to fight and argue and complain like people often do about their differences, we wanted to celebrate an opportunity. We wanted to have an opportunity to celebrate those differences and tell people to come and tell us a little bit more about why their culture does something maybe a little bit different than we might see it. The who of All Nations Sunday, well, it's in the title. All Nations Sunday is celebrating all nations. These are a few pictures from the last few celebrations that we've had. And the thing that I enjoy the most, or a couple of things that I enjoy the most, are the fact that we get to bring up different flags from these different nations. As you can see right across the front on the picture, we have everybody holding the different flags of the different nations that they're a part of. Then, of course, at the end of the service, when we have celebrated all these different nations, we have all these different kinds of foods. So you might ask, why is it that I enjoy it so much? That might be the number one answer as to why I enjoy it so much, because these different nations bring different foods, things that I've never even heard of, to this service. And then we celebrate not only their differences, but we get to celebrate their culture by partaking of the different kinds of food. So of course, the who is all different nations, all different cultures. And we ask that people that are born in these different nations tell us so that we can have a flag available. They can walk it up and be proud of the country that they were born in, but also that they are now living in America, where we can continue to celebrate that culture. The when and where. Well, this year we're going to be celebrating it here in a couple of weeks. And that's why I was so excited to talk about it here this morning. October 16th, 2022, at the Rochester Pentecostal Church in Rochester, Minnesota, is when this is going to be. We celebrated at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and the celebration is usually about 2 to 2.5 hours, because we like to fit in a little bit of singing. We get to fit in a little bit of hearing different languages being talked, and as they speak different Bible verses. And then we even do our best every year to sing in a couple of different languages. Sometimes it goes really well, and other times it might fall completely flat in its face, but everybody always celebrates the fact that we are celebrating a different culture. Why All Nations Sunday, and why am I talking about it? I already told you, it's one of my favorite days of the year. Oftentimes when you talk with somebody who enjoys going to church, enjoys being a part of a church, they tell you Christmas and Easter, those are my favorite times of the year. I have nothing against that. I love those times of the year, but this is one of my favorite days to celebrate because I get to learn about different cultures and celebrate those different cultures. Of course, I already mentioned, and I'm going to mention it again because I love trying different kinds of food. Oftentimes we get caught up in our weekly and daily things that we eat, and we go, there's not really a whole lot out there to eat, man. I'm just so bored with eating the same thing over and over every day, every week. And so it's so exciting to be able to try different foods from different nations. And then of course, trying to ask them, hey, do you have a recipe? Because I'd like to try that, and completely failing when I make it myself. And then each year realizing there is more that brings us together than pulls us apart. That's probably my favorite part too, is realizing that there is a lot more to celebrate when it comes to seeing our differences than there is that we can continue to argue or fight about when it comes to our differences. So I'd like to end with this. If you've seen something here this morning that you think you'd be excited about too, I'd like to invite you to come. If you'd like to be a part of this celebration, you can let me know and I'll help you to somehow get involved. Because All Nations Sunday is exactly that. It's celebrating all nations and finding ways to bring ourselves together on a regular basis. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.